Hello and welcome to the 30k channel, a channel dedicated to bringing you games set in the Horus Heresy. I am your host James Norman.
And I'm your host also, my name is David Brains.
Today I am very excited. I've twisted David's arm and once again we are doing a big game. I know you prefer the smaller Zone Mortalis, which are fun, but today we're rolling out the tanks at 3,500 points. Iron Warriors versus Iron Hands.
Yeah, we've got a huge armoured column on both sides. I don't think I've ever seen so many tanks in my life, to be honest.
No, that's it. Well, I'm looking forward to this one. So a bit of background for this game. The idea is that the orders have come down from the Lord of Iron, Perturabo, for these Iron Warriors to garrison a crucial world, to the War Master's war effort. And they are doing just that. They are oppressing the population, putting down various rebellions in the name of the Emperor. But the Red Talon and Ortec Moore have just warped into the system, and that means carnage is about to take place.
Yeah, this is a classic matchup, isn't it? All the irons here. We've got Iron Warriors, Iron Hands, famous leader Ortec Moore. I think the lists are quite tough on both sides. Two Spartans.
Yep.
You've got a Spartan and a Storm Eagle.
Yep, that's it. Plenty of heavy support on both sides. Plenty of tanks, which is what we were going for this game. Really, we wanted to do a big tank battle. Yeah. Everything can start deployed in a vehicle. Yeah. Rolling in through the ruined cityscape as Ortec Moore tries to smash his way through the traitors.
Yeah, it's going to be a really cool game. One thing I love about the list that James has put together is that we've got Spartan with 20 TAC Marines in.
Yeah, it's nice to do a big squad of tactical Marines sometimes, yeah. And I put one in for the Iron Warriors as well, flying in their Storm Eagle. Yeah. So, hopefully the tactical Marines will have a chance to take on some tanks today.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Heresy is all about 20-man TAC Marines. You know, in 40k, in 7th edition, you could go up to 10, 15 in some. Was it 15 for maybe the Chaos Marines maybe? Yeah. But we're up to 20 Marines in a unit, which is brilliant. Hopefully, we might get some Fury of the Legion off.
That's it. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Now, the mission we're playing today is we're playing Dawn of War, and we're playing on an 8x6 board. And the mission we've got is Tide of Carnage. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why we rationalise this mission is because the board is humongous, but also every vehicle is scoring. Yeah,
that's it. All the tanks. So we have an absolute bucket load of scoring units on both sides. In fact, most units. So expect a lot of cunning tactical decisions to try and clear out various sectors of the battlefield. It's going to be tricky. Yeah, it should be interesting.
That's the key, isn't it? The three zones in the deployment zone have to be completely clear of enemy scoring units, and that's really tough when there's a ton of tanks and 20-man TAC units running around. So in the end, it might only come down to warlords and attrition, maybe. Yeah, maybe. So it might be a very, very close game with only a couple of victory points in it, but we will see. I am really excited for this game. It's going to be a really, really good one, I think. There's a couple of rules which we'd like to talk about. One of the unique things for the Iron Hands with the Armoured Breakthrough list they've got Blessed Auto Simulacra. Yeah. So on a 6-up, they get a whole point back, which is a really big boon for the whole army. We've got Ortec Moore in there as well, which can fix whole points as well.
Yeah, he's a battlesmith.
Yeah, so we'll try and fit him in somewhere as we can. The Iron Warriors have got some cool rules as well.
Yeah, they're using the Hammer of Olympia today, so they can charge after double tapping their rapid fire weapons. All their vehicles get extra armour. All their tanks and walkers, so tanks today. And of course, crucially, for fitting all these tanks into the list, they get an extra heavy support slot with that Rite of War. So.
Yeah, it's going to be fast and furious. The board looks crazy. There's loads of line of sight blocking terrain. We're going to have to work really, really hard to navigate our vehicles all the way through this battlescape. It's a city. It's a bit counterintuitive. I can say it's heavily densely populated, but there's a couple of open areas which we'll try and exploit if we can. There's one particularly at the far end of the board where the defence line is, and there's a little bit of open space by the kind of the landing bay and the storage facility area, I guess. So we have to see how both forces exploit that. Let's get on with it. Let's look at the lists.
Yep.
And we'll see at the beginning of turn 1. Leading the Iron Hands into battle is Ortec Moore and Casterman Orth, and his tank of choice is a Sicaran, and that is equipped with 2 las cannon side sponsons and the accelerator autocannon on top. It is also equipped with a dozer blade and blessed auto simulacra. Finally, the last HQ is a Legion Centurion. He's equipped with Artificer Armor, a Thunder Hammer, a Volkite Charger, Refractor Field, Cyber Familiar, and Melter Bombs. The first elite's choice is a 9-man Gorgon Terminator squad. There are 4 Power Fists, 3 Chain Fists, and 1 Power Axe. The Hammer Bearer has a Thunder Hammer and a Cyber Familiar. Their dedicated transport is a Legion Spartan Assault Tank that is equipped with a Flare Shield, Armoured Ceramite, a Dozer Blade, and Blessed Auto Simulacra. The second elite's choice is a 10-man Legion Veteran Tactical Squad. They're all equipped with a Bolt Pistol, Bolter, and a Close Combat Weapon. They are all equipped with Melter Bombs, and their dedicated transport is a Rhino. The final elite slot is a Mortis Contemptor Dreadnought that is equipped with 2 Carey's Pattern Assault Cannons. The first 2 troops choices for the Iron Hands are 2 Legion Predator Strike Squadrons, each with a single Predator. They are equipped with Las Cannon Sponsons, a Dozer Blade, Machine Spirit, Extra Armor, and Blessed Auto Simulacra. The final troops choice is a 20-man Legion Tactical Squad, all armed with a Bolt Pistol, a Bolter, and extra close combat weapons. The Sergeant is armed with a Combi Melter, a Power Fist, and Melter Bombs. They will be riding into battle in a Legion Spartan Assault Tank, which is also a heavy support choice. Heavy support is a Legion Predator Strike Squadron comprising of 2 Predators. They're both equipped with Flamestorm Cannons, Las Cannon Sponsons, a Dozer Blade, Machine Spirit, Extra Armor, and Blessed Auto Simulacra. The second heavy support choice is a Legion Vindicator Siege Tank Squadron comprising of 2 Vindicators equipped with a Demolisher Cannon, Dozer Blade, Machine Spirit, Extra Armor, and Blessed Auto Simulacra. The 20-man Tactical Marines will be riding in this Legion Spartan Assault Tank. It's equipped with a Flare Shield, Armoured Ceramite, a Dozer Blade, and Blessed Auto Simulacra.
The Iron Warriors are led by Legion Praetor, who's been upgraded to be a Warsmith. He has a Mastercrafted Power Fist, a Servo Arm, a Combi Plasma, digital lasers, an Iron Halo, and Melter Bombs. And he has 2 consoles with him. The first is a Forge Lord. He has a Power Axe, Servo Arm, Artificer Armour, Rad Grenades, a Combi Plasma, and Melter Bombs. And we have a Chaplain, who has a Plasma Pistol, a Power Maul, and Melter Bombs. The Iron Warriors' only elite choice is a Legion Terminator Squad, 6 strong. 3 have Power Fists, 2 have Chain Fists, 2 have Combi Melters. The Sergeant has a Power Fist, and they are mounted in a dedicated transport, which is a Legion Spartan Assault Tank, which has a Flare Shield, Armoured Ceramite, and a Dozer Blade. The first 2 of this detachment's 3 compulsory troops choices are both Legion Tactical Squads. Both have Vexillas and both are mounted in Rhinos with Dozer Blades. The Sergeants, one has a Combi Plasma, Power Fist, and Melter Bombs. The other has a Combi Melter, Lightning Claw, and Melter Bombs. The third troops choice is another Legion Tactical Squad, this time 18 strong. They have a Vexilla and extra close combat weapons. Their Sergeant has a Power Fist and Melter Bombs. The fourth and final troops choice is a Legion Tactical Support Squad, 5 strong. All of them have Melter Guns, and the Sergeant also has Melter Bombs. The first fast attack choice is a Legion Seeker Squad, 5 strong. All of them have Combi Plasmas, and the Sergeant also has Melter Bombs. They have a Legion Land Raider Proteus as their dedicated transport. It has Armoured Ceramite, a Dozer Blade, and an Explorator Augury Web. The Iron Warriors' second fast attack choice is a Legion Storm Eagle Assault Gunship with 2 Twin-Link Las Cannon and a Missile Launcher. The first of the Iron Warriors' 4 heavy support choices is a Legion Sikaran Battle Tank with Las Cannon Sponsons and a Dozer Blade. The second heavy support choice for the Iron Warriors is a Legion Venator Tank Destroyer. It has Las Cannon Sponsons and a Dozer Blade. The Iron Warriors' third heavy support choice is a Legion Whirlwind Scorpius. It has been upgraded to have a Dozer Blade. The fourth and final heavy support choice for the Iron Warriors is an Achilles Alpha Pattern Land Raider.
we're deployed, and that is a large board.
It is. Looks fantastic.
Not a single infantry model has been deployed. Everything is in a transport or it's in a Storm Eagle ready to come on.
Yep.
You know, we've been very, very careful about how we've deployed. I won the roll off to deploy first, go first, and I was very, very cautious. I'm conscious of James's amazing dice rolls from our last game together.
I'm going to be counting on them today, I think.
Bearing in mind, James built the list, so if I do win, it's only because James built me a strong list, not because I'm a tactical genius. So.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
So we'll see what happens. You want to seize it?
I'm going to give it a go.
All right. So, good luck first.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Let's see what he gets.
Oh, it's a 2.
Thankfully, Iron Hands, turn 1. Iron Hands, movement phase, turn 1. The Vindicators on the left-hand side have pushed forward over the landing pad. They're going to try and target the Rhino or maybe the Achilles. Orth in his Sakaran might take on the Spartan in the front there, the Iron Warrior Spartan, just to try and maybe take a whole point off it. I've got 2 las cannons from the Predator Squadron here. The Spartan with Ortec Moore and his Gorgons has gone a full 12 inches. Their plan is to get as far forward onto the side of the board as possible. And then the 2 single Predators here have got 2 las cannons on that Rhino. So we're just trying to take out some small transports to begin with till we get into a better line of sight. And the Spartan and the Rhino have pushed up. We've got 1 quad las cannon on that Sakaran. And I imagine that Rhino is going to go another 6 inches to flat out in the shooting phase rather. Also, I'm probably going to run the Contemptor to get it into a better position. Other than that, you know, it's a very tentative movement phase through this city. The Iron Hands have got a really tough job to try and pip some of these vehicles early on. Iron Hands shooting phase turn 1. The 2 Vindicators on the left-hand side of the board here have fired at the Rhino opposite them. Got 2 hits, 2 penetrates, but didn't manage to kill it, unfortunately. So 2 hull points and a weapon destroyed and a shaken result. Not bad. Obviously, would have been nice to have destroyed the Rhino, but we'll carry on. Orth sat atop his Sakaran, opened up at the Rhino and took the final hull point fairly easily. The Iron Warriors inside emergency disembarked and moved over the landing pad towards the Iron Hands lines. The 2 Predators and the Spartan containing Ortec Moore and his Gorgon Terminators all fired their las cannons at the Iron Warriors Spartan, but failed to penetrate thanks to that flare shield. What a shame. The 2 Predators stalking through the city lined up 8 autocannon shots and 2 las cannon shots on the Iron Warriors Rhino opposite, thankfully destroying it. It didn't explode, which was a bit of a shame. That would have been nice just to cause a few extra wounds. But the Iron Warriors emergency disembarked. It seems that the Iron Hands have got target priority for Rhinos this turn. The Iron Hands Mortis Dreadnought ran 3 inches. It's his plan to get a little bit closer into the centre of the battlefield where those carriers can come into their own. They also might be able to draw a line of sight onto that tactical squad later on in the game. The Spartan fired its twin-linked quad las cannons at the Sakaran opposite. Got 2 hits but failed to penetrate, rolling a 3 and a 1, which was a real shame. And finally, the Rhino on this far side here flatted out 6 inches just to gain some ground and make James have some tough decisions in his next turn about what to fire with that Sakaran. I don't mind if he takes the Rhino. It's the Spartan that I'm probably a little bit more concerned about. Other than that, not a bad turn. Couple of Rhinos, which was okay. My plan for this game is to shoot stuff and kill stuff and not let it run around the board with 1 or 2 hull points. We will get points for killing highest number of units into the game, so we're going to go for that.
Iron Warriors movement phase turn 1, and the Iron Warriors are relatively happy that they only lost a couple of Rhinos to the opening salvo from the Iron Hands. They are moving to attack. The tactical squad forced out of their Rhino on the far right flank have moved forward, and motoring past them we have the Achilles getting ready to take on the Iron Hands Vindicators. The Iron Warriors Spartan has pulled back. It is drawing a line of sight onto some Predators in front of it, and it has cleared the line of fire for the Venator, who wants to take on Castrum and Orth in his Sikaran. The Scorpius has held position, getting ready to give supporting fire with its rockets. Meanwhile, in the centre, the Proteus has pulled back. It wants to open fire with its las cannon at some predators as well. And the tactical squad forced out of their Rhino in the centre are also advancing. Meanwhile, all the way over on the far left flank, we have the Sicaran, which hasn't moved, it's just pivoted. It has a choice of targets. Iron Warriors shooting phase turn 1, and the phase has opened with the Scorpius opening fire with its multi-launcher. It managed to land 4 rockets onto this Vindicator squadron. It got 4 hits, but only managed 1 glance and 1 pen. The pen was a stunned, but because these Iron Hands vehicles have machine spirit and extra armour, that means it can still move and fire for full effect. Trundling forward, the Achilles Alpha opened fire on the Vindicators with its quad launcher using shatter shells. It only managed to get 1 hit, but it was a pen and took the last hull point from one of the Vindicators. The Iron Warriors Sicaran Venator had a clear line of fire all the way through to Castrum and Orth in his Sicaran and managed to get 2 hits with its neutron beam, blowing off the accelerator autocannons and shaking the Iron Hands vehicle. And of course, since it's a neutron beam weapon, Castrum North would have been firing snapshots next turn. Anyway, that's a good result, stripping him of that tank's best weapon. The Iron Warrior Spartan opened fire with one of its quad las cannons that could see on the Iron Hands Predator squadron. Only managed to get a single glancing hit, and that was saved by a cover save. The Land Raider Proteus opened fire with its 2 twin-linked las cannon on the Iron Hands Predators, managed to get a single penetrating hit that has stunned the lead vehicle. The Iron Warrior Sicaran battle tank opened fire with its accelerator autocannon on the Iron Hands veterans in their Rhino. The accelerator easily stripping it of its hull points with 4 glancing and penetrating hits. And in the last action of the turn, the Iron Warriors tactical squad in the centre ran forward 2 inches, and all the way over on the far right flank, the other tactical squad managed to run forward 6 inches. That is quite a good response from the Iron Warriors. Let's see what the Iron Hands do next.
Iron Hands turn 2 movement. On the far right hand side flank here, the 10-man vet squad that had their Rhino destroyed have just moved forward 6 inches. We're going to try and harass this side of the battlefield just to claim some sectors for the end of the game. The Spartan has moved forward 6 inches, and he's going to target that Sicaran. We need that dead. The 2 Predator tanks here, they are separate. They're not a squadron. They've both just moved over 12 inches to the extreme. They're going to go up the side of that and support, for that building rather, and support the Spartan. The Contemptor has moved forward 6 inches, trying to target the tack squad over on the other side there. The Spartan, containing Autic Moore, has moved a full 12 inches. I might fud it out for another 6 just to get it deep into the Iron Hands lines. The 2 Predators are lining up their single-shot las cannons into the side of the Achilles Land Raider. And poor old Orth, he's lost his main gun and he's snap shooting, but he's going to snap shoot 2 of his las cannons down at that Venator. We might get a 1 shot and be extremely lucky, you never know. And then finally, on the left-hand flank here, the Vindicator has been penned in by the tack squad in the Achilles Alpha, but it's its plan to thin that squad out and deny some scoring points later on in the game. So we've got a bit of a plan, not huge amounts of shooting in this turn, but we're merely manoeuvring into position. Iron Hands shooting phase turn 2. The Vindicator levelled its Demolisher cannon at the Iron Warriors in front of it, but unfortunately, as you can see from the dice there, the shot scattered back 8 inches back onto the Vindicator and put a hull point on itself. That was not ideal. Orth, in his damaged Sicaran, snapshot 2 las cannons up at the opposing Venator. Unfortunately, no penetrating or glancing hits scored, and the 2 Predators fired their las cannons at the side of the Achilles, and again, no hull points caused. Not good. The Spartan containing Autic Moore fired its twin-linked quad las cannon into the Proteus Land Raider in front of it, causing no damage. The Mortis Contemptor ran 4 inches just to get a better line of sight of the troops on the other side of that building for future turns. One of the las cannons from each of the Predators fired down at the Sicaran, scoring 2 hits, but cover saves were both made. The Spartan was unsuccessful against shooting against Sakaran, and this tactical, the vet unit rather, ran forward 3 inches. Not an amazing turn of shooting. In general, a pretty poor performance from the Iron Hands in this turn 2 shooting phase. But you never know what might happen. We might get some lucky shots off in the next few turns. Let's see what we can do.
Iron Warriors movement phase turn 2, and very thankful for their lucky escape from the Demolisher shell. These Iron Warriors are advancing towards the Vindicator, hoping to finish it off with their crack grenades. Meanwhile, the Achilles has spun round. It has the option to target Castroma North in his Sakaran or the Predators in the middle of the battlefield. Screaming overhead, we have the Iron Warriors Storm Eagle that has arrived from reserve, carrying the Warsmith, the Forge Lord and the large tactical squad. It is ready to give fire against those Predators as well. All of the vehicles in the Iron Warriors deployment zone on this flank have held position. The Spartan, the Venator and the Scorpius, they are getting ready to give fire. But in the centre, the Proteus has pulled back. The Seekers inside are very wary of Ortek Moore and all of his Gorgons in the Spartan in the centre. The other tactical squad managed to advance 3 inches. They are wary of the Iron Hands Contemptor Mortis on the far side of the building. And finally, on the far left flank, this Sakaran is immobilised and shaken, but it's still going to give fire. Iron Warriors shooting phase turn 2, and the neutron beam from the Iron Warriors Sakaran Venator smashed into Castroma North Sakaran battle tank, finally destroying it, although it did not explode, and Castroma North himself has disembarked to the rear of his vehicle. He is not pinned. The Iron Warriors Scorpius open fire with another huge barrage of 4 Scorpius missiles, managing to get 4 hits on the Iron Hands Predators, but disappointingly only managed a single glance. That has reduced 1 tank down to 1 hull point remaining though. The newly arrived Storm Eagle unleashed its missile launcher and its twin-link las cannon on the damaged Predator, but only managed a single hit and rolled a 1. That is a disappointing performance from the Iron Warriors aircraft. The Achilles Alpha Pattern Land Raider decided to add the fire of its quad launcher shatter shells against these Predators, but only managed 2 hits, and that only led to 1 glance. The hastily retreating Iron Warriors Proteus opened fire with 1 twin-link las cannon upon the Iron Hands Spartan, managed a hit and managed to roll a 6-2 glance. The cover save was failed. The Iron Warriors Sakaran battle tank was firing snapshots, but it managed to get a single hit on the Iron Hands Predator. It was a pen and it has shaken the Iron Hands vehicle. And that is the end of the shooting phase. We do have an assault. Iron Warriors Assault Phase Turn 2, and the tactical squad successfully made their charge into the lone surviving Vindicator. They managed to place 5 crack grenades on it, more than enough to take its last 2 hull points. That brings Iron Warriors Turn 2 to a close. They are doing very well over on their right flank. They are making good progress, but their left flank is looking extremely vulnerable. This is shaping up to be a very interesting battle.
Iron Hands movement phase turn 3. The tack squad on the right hand side here moved 6 inches up through the defence line complex. They're pushing into the Iron Warriors deployment zone. The Spartan moved a full 12 inches. He will probably target the Sakaran in front of it, or he might go flat out, just depending on a bit of overlapping firepower I've got going on here to try and take out that Sakaran if I can. The Predators have moved up in support of the Spartan. They will again fire down at the Sakaran. The Mortis Contemptor has stayed stationary. He will fire some shots up at that Storm Eagle. The 2 Predators with the Flamestorm cannons and the las cannons have moved back, and they're going to fire 4 shots into that Achilles. It would be nice to get rid of that big tank. His weapons aren't massively effective, but it's good at stripping hull points. Orth has stood behind his beleaguered Sakaran there. I'm not really sure what I'm doing with him. I'm just trying to keep him alive for a couple of turns to decide what to do. Losing the Vindicator here, I think it was a bit of a foregone conclusion. Not being able to take out that squad in their shooting phase was just a horrendous turn of luck there. And finally, Ortek Moore and his Gorgon Terminators have moved 12 inches. They will either put some extra shots down to the Sakaran on the other side of the board, or they might fire into that Proteus. But they're just biding their time. I think the next turn will be the turn to strike. Iron Hands turn 3 shooting phase. Started off with a good opening round of shooting here. The Predators both fired a las cannon each at the front of that Sakaran and destroyed it, wrecking it, which was brilliant news. The Spartan then moved flat out 6 inches just to gain a better line of sight and a bit of options for its next few turns. And then finally, this the veteran squad here, they need a leadership to run, and I rolled an 11 for the leadership, so that was a real shame, and they are not running this turn. The Mortis Contemptor levelled its twin Carey's pattern assault cannons at the Storm Eagle. Thanks to its helical target array, it gained the Skyfire special rule for not moving. 12 shots went up, 10 hit. I needed a 6 to glance, but failed to score a single 6. Crucially though, James decided to jink, so it will be snap shooting in the next turn. I have a feeling, though, that the contents will be disgorging from the front of that Storm Eagle, but nevertheless, it was still a worthy effort. The two Predators opened up with their 4 las cannons into the front arc of the Alpha Achilles, got 3 hits, but couldn't roll a 5 or a 6 to glance or a pen. That is a shame. The penetration rolls for this army is appalling. The Spartan, containing Ortek Moore and his Gorgon Terminators, shot 4 las cannons into the Proteus in front of it. Got 4 hits, but only managed 1 glancing hit. What a shame. End of Iron Hands turn 3. We tried our level best. We had some great line of sight onto a lot of the Iron Warriors tanks, but the penetration rolls just did not come through, which was pretty terrible. I am a little bit worried about that Storm Eagle now. I think the contents will come out and wreck the 2 Predators beneath it. But on a good note, though, the flank has been secured this side, so the vets are going to push up to claim this objective, and then the Spartan and the 2 Predators will come around for a bit of a flanking manoeuvre. Hopefully that will do some damage in the next few turns.
Iron Warriors movement phase turn 3, and the Warsmith has ordered the Storm Eagle pilot to come down and hover above this building as he leads his massive tactical squad out to take on the Iron Hands Contemptor Mortis. Meanwhile, the tactical squad are moving up in support between these 2 buildings. There's not much they can do, but they are a scoring unit. Over on the Iron Warriors left flank, well, they don't really have a left flank at the minute. The Warsmith has no idea what to do about that. The Land Raider Proteus has pulled back, still wary of Ortek Moore and all of his Gorgons inside their Spartan. He's preparing to give fire. The Scorpius has held position behind this building. He's going to pick out some Predators again, hopefully. And over on the right flank, the Venator has moved out, drawing a line on the side of Ortek Moore's Spartan with its neutron beam. The Iron Warriors would love a bit of luck there. Meanwhile, the Spartan can pick out a Predator with one of its quad las cannons as it has moved around. The Achilles Alpha on the landing pad has spun around. It is also on the hunt for Predators. And finally, the Iron Warriors tactical squad on this flank have clambered over the wrecked Vindicators into the Iron Hands deployment zone. Iron Warriors shooting phase turn 3, and the phase is opened with this tactical squad running 5 inches forward into the Iron Hands deployment zone. They're a scoring unit. They are hoping that they can claim that for their legion. The Iron Warriors Spartan opened fire at the Predators with the 1 quad las cannon that had line of sight, managed to get 2 hits, but neither glanced or penned. A lackluster volley of fire from the Scorpius as it launched 2 missiles at the Iron Hands Predators, only managed a single hit, and it did not do anything to the Iron Hands tank. The snap shooting Storm Eagle took aim at the Iron Hands Predators. Both of its twin link las cannon missed. It did manage a hit with its missile launcher, but once again, it did not glance or pen. The Achilles Alpha opened fire with its shatter shells from its quad launcher at the lead Iron Hands Predator, managing 2 hits and 2 glances, but thanks to blessed auto simulacra, that tank auto-repaired at the end of the last Iron Hands turn, leaving it still alive with 1 whole point remaining. The Warsmith and his big squad may have to reconsider their target. The shooting phase continues in very disappointing fashion for the Iron Warriors as the Sakaran Venator managed to get 2 hits with its neutron beam and 1 with a las cannon on the side of the Spartan, but all bounced harmlessly off. And yet another poor performance from an Iron Warriors vehicle, as the Proteus, despite being twin-linked, did not manage to get a single hit on Ortec Moore's Spartan. Iron Warriors Assault Phase Turn 3, and the Warsmith, furious that his army's firepower did not manage to take out these Predators, decided to lead the effort himself. His tactical marines ploughed into them, planting a lot of crack grenades on them and easily wrecking both of them.
Iron Hands, movement phase, turn 4. Orth, he's a bit of a weird one, isn't he? Because, you know, what do you do with him now? He's a little bit caught out in the open. So he's moved away from the cover of his Sakaran behind these crates here, and he will run in the shooting phase just to gain some ground on this unit. Our plan is to harass this unit, although I'm not sure how effective he can actually be. The Spartan containing Ortec Moor and the Gorgon Terminators, they've moved forward 12 inches. They will be snap shooting one of the twin link las into the Sakaran Venator, and then they will use Power Machine Spirit to try and finish off that and reduce the threat from that horrendous weapon on its front. It will leave us open to a shot from it if we don't destroy it, and an inevitable charge from the Terminator inside the Iron Warriors Spartan, but at least it will get some combat onto the board. The other Spartan that came all the way around from their deployment zone around that big building has managed to get 2 side armor shots for its twin link las cannons onto that Scorpus. We need to get rid of it. And then finally, this squad here on the left-hand side have pushed forward 6 inches. James and I are just exchanging 10-man TAC units for deployment zone scoring, so we've just done that over here. And then finally, I should say now, the Dreadnought and the 2 Predators have got that massive tactical squad in their sights, and they need to reduce it as much as possible. We need some better shooting than we've had in previous turns. Iron Hand shooting phase, turn 4. Orth passed his leadership test to run and ran 6 inches further around those crates. He's now in a position to, spring out and surprise the Iron Warriors on the flank here. The Spartan opened up with its las cannons, got 1 hit from the snapshots, and then 2 more hits from the Power Machine Spirit into the Venator. Got 3 hits, but couldn't roll higher than a 3 for penetrate. Such a ridiculous shooting phase. Really, really disappointed. Would have liked at least 1 whole point, but there we are. The Spartan opened up with its quad las cannons into the Scorpius behind the warehouse there. Got 3 hits, 3 penetrates, and James failed all of his cover saves. So finally, a little bit of luck, managed to destroy that Scorpius. It was causing me a bit of bother. Now we'll go on to shooting the big TAC squad behind those buildings. The 2 Predators opened up at the large tactical squad that just emerged from the Storm Eagle. The autocannons hit 7 times and caused 5 wounds, but only killed 1 Marine, which was just terrible. James made some amazing armor saves. But then the las cannons opened up, got 3 hits and 3 kills, which is far better. Now we're going to go on to the Dreadnought. Some good shooting from the Mortis Contemptor Dreadnought. He fired 12 of his Carey's shots into the squad. Got 9 hits, which is brilliant. 2 Wrens and 5 normal wounds, and it was enough to kill the Sergeant and 4 Marines. So really, really pleased with that round of shooting from the 2 combined units. The final action of the shooting phase was for this veteran tactical unit. Passed the leadership test and they ran 5 inches. We have now definitely secured the Iron Warriors deployment zone. The question is now can we destroy the tanks and prevent James from contesting his own deployment zone? I guess time will tell.
Iron Warriors movement phase turn 4, and this tactical squad continue their advance. They are drawing a bead on Casterman, Orth with their bolters, and the Sergeant with his combi melter. He is hoping to take out the pesky Iron Hands tank commander. The Achilles Alpha has spun around, trying to plink some hull points off of the side of Ortec Moore's Spartan with its shatter shells, and Ortec Moore's Spartan is going to come under a lot more firepower as well from the Iron Warrior's own Spartan, the Iron Warrior's lucky Sakaran Venator that was not damaged last turn, and in the other flank, the Iron Warrior's Proteus as well, which has pulled back and is getting ready with its las cannon. In the centre, the tactical squad have advance between these buildings. They are looking to get a charge off on the Contemptor Mortis as the Storm Eagle comes zooming past. It's flying again and it wants to do a strafing run on these pesky Iron Hands predators. And the Warsmith and the Forge Lord have led the remains of their tactical squad into the Iron Hands deployment zone as well. Iron Warriors shooting phase, turn 4, and the sergeant of this tactical squad lifted his combi melter and promptly missed, but the rest of his squad sprayed Castrum and North with bolt shells. They only managed 2 wounds thanks to him being an Iron Hand, but he rolled a double 1 for his saves and they shot him down. The Achilles Alpha opened fire into the side of Ortekmor's Spartan, managing 4 hits, but despite Sunder, all of the shells pattered harmlessly off of the Iron Hand Spartan. The Iron Warrior Spartan opened fire on its opposite number, managing 4 hits with its quad las cannon, but only 1 managed to get through the flare shield and inflict a single glance. The Sakaran Venator opened fire into the front of Ortekmor's Spartan and has finally managed to have an effect. Ortekmor's transport is immobilised thanks to the neutron beam. The Proteus also opened fire upon Ortekmor's Spartan, hoping to inflict the killing blow, but although it hit with both of its twin-link las cannon, both of the shots did nothing. The Iron Warrior's Storm Eagle commenced its strafing run, but these pilots are obviously having a big problem targeting the Iron Hands vehicles in this ruined cityscape. It only managed a single hit with 1 of its twin-link las cannon, which did nothing to the frontal armour of the Iron Hands Predator. Final act of the Iron Warriors 4 shooting phase was the Warsmith, running along with his tactical squad and the Forge Lord 4 inches deeper into the Iron Hands deployment zone. A disappointing end to the Iron Warriors' 4th turn as the tactical squad in the centre declared a charge against the Iron Hands Contemptor Mortis, but it raised its assault cannons and cut down the first 2 of them with a hail of shots, and that made them fail their charge, bringing the Iron Warriors' turn to a close.
Iron Hands turn 5 movement. This is the last turn for the Iron Hands, so we've had to go big or go home. The Spartan was immobilised. That was a real shame, but Ortekmor and his Gorgon Terminator have got out, moved 6 inches, and they are a 9-inch charge to that Spartan. If we destroy it, great news, but we've got to get to it first. The Terminators inside will obviously be able to get out, and they will probably charge me, so hopefully that combat will give us some good results. The Spartan will target the Sakaran Venator. We need to finish that off. We've shot so many times at it and failed. We can't do anything about this Proteus here, so we're going to abandon that. The other Spartan has moved into position, disgorged the 20-man tactical unit, and we will hopefully wipe out that squad in front of us of the Iron Warriors. The Vets have moved forwards further into the Iron Warriors deployment zone. You know, we've got into the deployment zone, but it's not going to work because there's plenty of tanks and troops that will contest it. So that's that. This Predator on the right-hand side has moved out, and we'll get some shots off that Iron Warriors tactical squad in front of it. The Mortis Contemptor has stayed stationary, and he will fire up at the Storm Eagle to hopefully jink it and save the Predators for the next turn. This Predator here has moved into a position to get some more shots on this squad. Other than that, that is all I've got. I need some amazing luck. Iron Hand shooting phase, turn 5. The Spartan finally delivered. It snapshot one of its quad las cannons and power machine spirited the other into the Sakaran Venator and finally destroyed it with 2 penetrating and a glancing hit. James failed his cover save, so that is a brilliant start to the shooting phase. I do need, though, a 9-inch charge for this Terminator unit, but we'll come on to that very shortly. The Spartan here used power on the machine spirit to spin the right-hand side sponson quad las cannon into the side of the Proteus here. Got 2 hits. Failed to pen with 1, but James made his save on the penetrating hit that got through. So would have been nice to have one-shotted that Proteus, but it wasn't to be. The Heavy Bolter then opened up into the Iron Warriors tactical unit in front. 3 shots, 3 hits, and 1 kill. And the snapshotting quad las cannon on the left-hand side sponson there failed to hit. The Mortis Contemptor stayed stationary and used Skyfire thanks to its helical target array into the rear of the Storm Eagle. 12 shots went out, 12 hits, but I couldn't roll a single 6 to glance the the Storm Eagle, which was a bit of a shame, but crucially, James did jink, so it's less of a threat next turn. This Predator shot into the large Iron Warriors tactical unit, and combining the firepower from the autocannon and the las cannons killed 3 Marines, which was brilliant. And then finally, this one shot into the same unit and only managed to kill 1 tactical Marine. Iron Hands, turn 5 assault phase. This is the assault that we've been waiting for the whole game here. Is a 9-inch charge from Autek Moore and his Gorgon Terminators into the front of that Spartan. We're going to do it live on camera, so we need a 9 to get in. Please, please, please. Oh, that is a 9-inch charge. The final charge of the last turn for the Iron Hands was the 20-man tac squad with the Centurion charged into the Iron Warriors tactical squad. They did overwatch and caused 14 hits, causing 2 wounds, which I rolled a double 1 for, which was brilliant, and that killed 2 tactical Marines. They did, however, make a 5-inch charge, which was enough to bring them into contact with the Marines. Sergeants issued a challenge across the battlefield from each other, and they met one another on top of the plinth of that building with their power fists. We will do this combat first, then we'll build up to the Gorgon Terminators with Autek Moore. Despite having 20 Marines and a Centurion charge into the Iron Warriors, only 9 were able to attack at Initiative Step 4. So there's 27 attacks that went in. There was around 12 or 13 hits and 8 wounds caused on the Iron Warriors. But only 2 Iron Warriors fell at Initiative 4. They will, of course, get a chance to attack back before they die. Also, Initiative 4, 6 Iron Warriors attacked back with 6 attacks, causing 4 wounds. But the armour of the Iron Hands held fast and no Marines were killed. The Centurion struck at Initiative 1 with his Thunderhammer. With 4 attacks, he got 3 hits, but only managed to kill 1 Marine. Just horrendous rolling from the Centurion. At Initiative Step 1, both the Sergeants in the challenge knocked each other out, the Iron Hands taking an Iron Warrior in addition to the Sergeant with it as well, which was great news. The Iron Hands have won the combat. We will do the results and get back to you. The Iron Warriors needed a leadership test of 4 or under, and they rolled a 4. So that combat will continue. That's great news for the Iron Hands, because hopefully we'll finish them off in their turn, and we will not be shot at. So a really good result there. Let's move on to Autek Moore. Thankfully, a bit of luck for the Iron Hands. The Gorgon Terminators struck in with 9 chain fists and managed to rip the Spartan apart. We then went in with the Thunderhammers, but amazingly, we did not manage to explode the Spartan, which I would have liked to have done because it might have taken a couple of wounds off the Terminators inside. However, they have emergency disembarked, and it will be up to James now whether he will charge the Terminators or not. It's a really, really close one to call. We go into the Iron Warriors turn 5, the last turn of the game, and it is incredibly close.
Iron Warriors movement phase turn 5, the final turn of the game, and the Iron Warriors want to exact some revenge on Autek Moore and his Gorgons. The Achilles Alpha has spun around and disgorged the tactical support squad with melters. They are in range, they're hoping to take out some of the Iron Hands, and so is the Chaplain and his Terminators, who have been forced out of their Spartan. Meanwhile, this tactical squad, they are in a scoring position, although they're not going to score it, but they may as well hold fast. The Warsmith, Forge Lord, and the remnants of his tactical squad, they are moving forward to try and take out this Predator. They have 2 combi plasmas. It's unlikely, but they do have the support of the now hovering Storm Eagle, although it will be firing snap shots since it jinked last turn. Meanwhile, in the centre, the 2 surviving Iron Warriors, they are not long for this world or any other. They're going to be cut down, but the Seekers have deployed from their Proteus. The tank itself is getting ready to try and finish off Autek Moore's Spartan. This game is incredibly close. Neither side is looking like they're going to score any points for the deployment zones, but there is last man standing. We are not sure where either of us stand on that, so this is very tight indeed. Iron Warriors shooting phase turn 5, and the tactical squad with melters managed to burn through 2 of the Gorgons, and the Achilles Alpha managed to take out another one with a volley from one of its Volkite Culverins. The chaplain ordered his Terminators to open fire with their combi bolters and their 2 combi melters. They managed 2 hits and 2 wounds with the melters, but the Iron Hands made both of their saves, and it was the same story for the 3 wounds inflicted by the combi bolter. The chaplain stepped up, opened fire, caused a win with his plasma pistol, but this was saved as well. The Iron Warriors Proteus continued its fire upon Ortec Moore's now immobilised Spartan, managed a penetrating hit with one of its las cannons, but the Spartan made its cover save. The Storm Eagle, even though it jinked, managed to get 1 hit with its missile launcher on the side of the Predator, which penetrated, and then managed to get another with a snap shooting twin-linked las cannon. It has finally destroyed an Iron Hands tank. Iron Warriors Assault Phase Turn 5, and the last 2 Iron Warriors Tactical Marines in the centre tried to inflict some damage on the Iron Hands. They failed, and it was left to the Iron Hands Centurion to step up and smash them both to pieces with blows from his Thunderhammer. That is the last action of Iron Warriors Turn 5, and that brings the game to a close. This is nail-bitingly close. Both Warlords are still alive. Neither side has managed to secure any of the sectors, so we are going down to last man standing. We're not sure who's got it. Could be the Iron Warriors. Let's have a count up and see. Well, there we have it. That is the end of one hell of a game. Whew. I really like it when we bring out the 8x6.
I know you do. I'm not keen.
You enjoyed it.
I did.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It was nerve-wracking.
It really was, yeah, down to the wire. I think we both realised that we had a lot of scoring units left, and we were quite canny about making sure that neither could take any of the sectors. So it came down to the extra victory points available. Slay the Warlord, which neither of us managed to achieve.
No.
And last man standing. Whoever had the most units left got a victory point, and it was 11 Iron Warriors units left and 9 Iron Hands.
Man.
That is close. Final score 1-0 in a 3,500 point game shows how close it was.
I tell you, we talked about this at length for quite a bit after the game, and all the Iron Hands needed was a couple of one-hit wonders, or at least some average penetration rolls.
Yeah, your tank's firing was nowhere near as good as I thought it would be. I thought it would be a lot better than mine, but yeah, just bad luck. A lot of las cannons bouncing off.
Yeah, really disappointing, but it was such a close game. You know, James and I, through the whole game, we just weren't sure. We were both really worried about each other's units.
Yep.
We were both very tentative, and he ended up with tac squads just changed board sides, didn't they?
Yeah, that's it, just to make sure that neither of us could score each other's deployment zones, kept some units back, advanced some units and into the middle, so a real tide of carnage.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for the Ortec Moore, the Gorgons, and the 20-man tac squad with the Centurion getting out in the final turn, there wasn't a lot of infantry moving around, was there? No,
that's it. Mine came out earlier, but they certainly suffered for it. I really regretted having to throw my Warsmith and the Forge Lord and the big squad out of the Storm Eagle to finish off those Predators, because it made them vulnerable, and I thought, there's 2 points, he is a Warsmith, so... But he managed to stay alive.
He did all right.
Yeah, he did the job.
I really needed those Predators with a Flamestorm to get rid of that large unit, but James just got there before I could sort of bring their firepower to bear. So that behind those 2 buildings in the front was because there was a really tiny narrow corridor, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Where that final combat happened at the end of the game. But that was really tricky to negotiate, and I did waste I think 2 turns shooting from half of the Iron Hands tanks, just kind of manoeuvring around. But I'm so pleased that both the Spartans kind of went around in a pincer formation. That worked really well.
They were a real thorn in my side. They just absorb so much firepower. And they deposit very nasty things right into my lines, which showed, I mean, both the squads that came out, the Spartans, they made their presence felt immediately. I think if the game had gone on for another turn, that would have been curtains for the Iron Warriors. Yeah, maybe it was tricky. That 9-inch charge, that was really, really key right at the end with Ortec Moore and his Gorgons. And we were so lucky to get that one off, because nobody wants a 9-inch charge with such a big unit and be stuck out in the open.
But we were lucky, and the tank that I was most afraid of was the Scorpius rather, and the Venator.
Yeah, the Scorpius put out a lot of shots and got a lot of hits, but I think its penetration rolls let it down a little bit. But the Venator was just fantastic. That's why it's my man of the match. It's every time it fired, it did damage. It completely shut down Castrum and North in his Sikaran. Immobilised Ortec Moore's Spartan. It was just very, very good. But then in a tank battle, what you need is a tank destroyer.
Well, don't forget, I had a couple of really good turns of shooting at it, but the first one did absolutely nothing. It was horrendous.
Yeah, that's it. All the shots were just plinking off its front armour. Yeah,
3 las cannons failed to penetrate the front armour, which was horrendous. Just needed a 4 to glance, but it just didn't work out. But finally, I brought back Ortec Moore's Spartan. You know, it did some really great work, as James mentioned. Took a load of firepower coming in. Did get immobilised, but it still delivered its contents, which was really key. I think Blessed Auto Simulacra, I think out of the whole game, I think I got 4 hull points back.
Yeah.
It wasn't massive, but it did mean that a couple of times James, not presumed, but it was almost a given that you would have taken out a tank due to just the depletion of hull points. But I got the odd one back here or there, and he had to deviate firepower into just finishing it off.
Yeah, and putting machine spirit on all of the Iron Hands vehicles meant that the firepower was constant. Yeah. The only way to stop a tank from firing was to destroy it, and that proved very tricky. Yeah. So, I think that's a really powerful combination, especially combined with the fact that they're all fast as well in a armoured breakthrough list. That was a very, very effective combination there.
The firepower consistent, but my rolling was very inconsistent. So if I'd married the two together, we would have been all right.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. I'd have been wiped off the table. So, I'm thankful to the dice gods today.
Well, you know, I really hope you've enjoyed that game. We're committed to bringing you more content, and James loves a big 8x6 game, and he's always pushed me to do more and more. So we're going to try and get one of these big games out a month. And then we'll do some normal 6x4 and some Zone Talis in the meantime during the week. So I really hope you've enjoyed it. I know you enjoyed it.
Oh, very much. Yeah, I enjoy a big game that's also really close. For me, is the best thing about the hobby. Yeah,
and we could have pushed the points a little bit more as well. We probably could have gone to 4K a piece. So we might look at doing that in the next couple of months maybe. But
sounds good.
We'll try and do a little bit more. I really hope you've enjoyed the game and the board and the armies, but of course we'd love to hear your comments. If you've got anything to talk to us about the lists or the board or anything like that, then please go to the little comment section below and leave us a little message, and I'll try and get back to you as fast as possible. I had a really great day.
Oh, me too, me too.
Thank you so much for the game.
Yeah, thank you.
We will return next week with another game. We haven't quite worked it out just yet.
No, we'll come up with something.
We'll have a quick think. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next game.